I mean, I got to you because of the Cypher Electro Montreal, which I think is a great project that you guys are part of it, and I want to know more about it and about each one of you. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll start it and then we'll go around.
Okay.
Well, my name is Rabi. I haven't been part of the electro community in Montreal from the beginning.
Okay.
There was a whole history behind that, but I'll let Carlos and Seb actually explain most of that history. I came around the time where it was at where electro kind of like died out,
Okay.
and the only people who were necessarily there was KB and Carlos, and I met Seb around that same time, and they kind of inspired me to dance electro. I was much more in different styles, and I think that's what usually happens with other people. When electro dies out, they either move to different styles, and I didn't have anyone who kind of brought me that. But as I learned about electro here, we started. It started off as Electro Reborn for a while, and then it slowly became into what Cypher Electro is. The main heads are Seb and Carlos. They were always the ones like planning ideas, and I eventually started helping, and I started becoming like a person who wanted to be with them. In terms of a crew, I think we are a crew. Like I like to say that. We've been traveling a lot. We started this year with more shows and much more performances.
Okay.
On my end, I'm a natural dancer for electro and hip hop, so those are the two ones I kind of mix up mostly.
Okay.
And yeah, I stay within these parameters, and I'm trying to like bring. But the culture in Canada is not as vibrant as in Mexico, because in Mexico, like, there's so much more people. But over here, we are more passionate, and we're trying to create this community. Hence why, well, my goal is when I go to Mexico, I'm going to see the community and try to bring that energy back here so we could create a bigger thing. And for you to create a magazine, it kind of reminds me of Yak Films, but you're doing it with electro. So that's a big up for you. And thanks for reaching out.
Of course. So just to make sure, I want to know, like, when did you guys start dancing? Like anything and electro? Like, when did you started dancing electro and joining the community? Like, what year was this?
For me, it was 2012 or 13, actually, because when I got out of school, I was doing dubstep, which was whatever. Yeah. But then when I met Carlos, it was around 2013, and we met at a place called On Sick. It's just like a school, and there was multitude of all stylers. But because I used to do tectonic back then, I kind of had like a certain knowledge of what it was, and that was my story. But afterwards, I did that, and I learned. I had an intensive with Carlos. I had some classes with KB. I trained a lot with Seb. So because I had a good environment, my dance became much more electro. So now I call myself an electro activist as well, because I'm trying to bring that into my lifestyle.
Yeah. You guys are coming to Mexico, the three of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I heard something about it with Blade. So yeah, I will be here joining you guys on the Cypher here.
Yeah,
so,
okay. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go ahead on the next one. Yeah. Carlos?
Vas-y, Carlos.
Présente
Cypher.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
¿Qué tal?
Yo, baby.
Tengo que mantenerlo ahí en inglés.
I mean, I think we can try just in English.
Okay.
For the people that are gonna watch us, and when I post this on YouTube, they can watch it with the subtitles.
Okay, perfect. All right. So my name is DOZA. I've been dancing for, I don't know, for like 12 years almost. I've been dancing just electro. I started with the whole tectonic movement, and I discovered electro. I mean, the whole electro energy through YouTube videos by watching Verified battles, and then a few years later, I discovered that there was a community here in Montreal. It was called Electro Montreal, and it was a bunch of like around 20 to 30 dancers active in Montreal that were all older than me, because I was like, what, I was like 14,
Okay.
13 years old, and these guys were like 18, 19 years old. So then I met them like a year after, because I was very shy. I was a shy kid back then. So for me, it was like, it was really hard to get involved in a community where like everybody knew each other and everybody was good at dancing. And after that, it was starting the electro scene, the Electro Montreal community was starting to be less and less popular. So like the more you would go to an event, like the event after was like less dancers, less participants, less battlers, less people coming to the jams. So I was always an electro practitioner, but at the same time I was kind of like, I was watching this scene dying at the same time. And I was really, really young. I was like 15, 16 years old. I didn't have like enough empowerment or enough confidence or even experience or maturity to build up, to keep going with this community. So from that, I was going to high school, and from high school I was just taking classes different styles. I was doing salsa, I was doing ballet, contemporary. I started going out of my electro knowledge, and then when I was like 18, 19, I started traveling. I went to Peru, I went to France, I went to Spain, and then I've been dancing with these. I discovered, the real electro communities that were really strong at the time, and that inspired me to build a new, to push a new community here in Montreal, starting from scratch, starting from zero, where dancers didn't know what tectonic was, like new generation, like complete start from zero, So yeah, and
Okay.
here we are.
Okay. So let's go to Seb. Before you tell me more about Cypher Electro Montreal, okay?
All right. Buenas, buenas. Primero que nada,
Okay.
I want to thank you first of all for inviting us for this opportunity. It's kind of nice to have a space, especially video. Sometimes people relate more into a conversation, others are more into lecture. But thank you for the project. That's really dope of you, and especially when it comes to like documenting and sharing. It's actually a conversation that we've been talking about a lot with the community here, since we speak French too. So like being the bridge of certain communities in the type of knowing and speaking the same language, it's an advantage. And we were thinking about sharing that, and you doing this in a language that a lot of people do speak, English, and then knowing Spanish. I think it's amazing. But anyways,
Thank you.
so thank you. I'm Sebastian, mostly known recently as SebOne. I'm a dancer. I've been dancing electro for 11 years now. I'm native from Ecuador. I started dancing in Ecuador, in Guayaquil, especially. I started dancing with La Red Crew from Quito. Shout out to Jonah, OG, rest in peace, and all the crew. And then when 2013, I moved here in Canada, since I'm born Canadian, raised in Ecuador. And I stopped a little bit. I was practicing at home because I moved up to a little town away from an hour from Montreal, and I didn't know there was a big community here until I moved in Montreal in 2016. Until then, I was practicing electro and just taking it a little bit as a hobby, and practicing at home, trying to reach mostly like dancers at school who were like poppers or b-boys or anything. And then I met Carlos at school. I got into dance school and college, we'll say. And then I met him, and then he told me there's a community here. It was a small community back then, but then I met KB, I met Rabbit, and they were practicing in a type of underground way because there was no event. and we're trying to push more and more when it comes to like cultivating the culture, pushing the people to continue to come back practices and to see it as a professional type of way. It's not just a hobby, but there's a possibility to become as a professional artist in electro. And until then, I started a little bit traveling. We went to Peru last year. We went to Mexico this year, and also me and DOZA were going to France in October. But yeah, I started DJing, and I started a little bit of producing music when it comes to the whole electro community, and that's pretty much it. I really want to push when it comes to education and when it comes to like the event creation too. I organized an event with Electronauts Peru back in November, and that's what we're trying to do here as well. So I'm part of the organization right now.
So
Yeah.
So are there any like events on electro, like competitions, or do you guys like are you guys do you guys go to competitions like for open styles or
Yeah.
in Montreal?
We usually do all styles. We've been doing this for a while though. Like I remember one of the first editions for crumping battle. It was like an all style versus crump, and me and Carlos, we used to go. There was this other person that used to be here. His name is Vux. He's an amazing dancer too. He's part of the community, but he's not always there around. But we have a lot of people around that kind of vibe. They just come and go.
Okay.
We always do all styles. Yeah.
Okay. So just to pinpoint out, like, when did the project, like, when did you guys call it, like, the Cypher Electro Montreal?
Go ahead, Doza.
Okay, so for me, I founded Cypher Electro because for me it was I had to review why I started this whole electro movement, because we first started with just as practices, you know, open sessions outdoors and downtown Montreal, just like everybody come, like, oh, you know electro, okay, come. You do popping, but you like electro, come, you know. And what we were always doing is Cypher. You know, I learned electro dance through Cyphers. I never took any classes. I never had any mentors that were really like looking up to me. So for me, it was like, I do my dance in the circle, you know, and I feel and I know that this is the place for me to actually share and to learn by watching other dancers. So that's why I called it Cypher Electro, because this is the circle, this is the place where everybody is different, but everybody has the same passion for this dance, which is electro. So that's why we call it Cypher Electro.
But is it just a Cypher though, like the project?
I mean,
do you actually
it started like just doing Cyphers, because my main goal was to just unite everybody that still does electro at the time. It was 2019. It was before pandemic, and I was just starting another school, a contemporary dance school, and I wanted to keep this thing alive. And I knew that if I didn't do anything, it was gonna die even more, like the years after. So that was my moment to create a thing, to the whole Cypher movement. And then after pandemic, after this whole situation, I knew it was the moment to start building up new things. Like I had to organize a battle. I had to organize workshops. I had to organize videos. You know, all these aspects of the dance. You know, to make it as a complete community, you know. So it's not just like, oh, we go to practice and then we practice once a week, 2 times a week, you know. So I made the thing to be it more in variety art. So it's not just dance, it's also video, it's also classes, it's also just talking, you know, and sharing documents, you know, history about electro, history about electro dance, history about electro music, history about all these aspects that are related to electro culture.
Damn. it's a great project. It's really great project. And so since you started it, you planned this like these travels to like Mexico to France and stuff, or
So
they were just
so yeah, so the travels. I mean, I started traveling by myself, not like representing Electro or my projects. I just did, but I wanted to. Firstly, I wanted to as a whole. That's why I traveled to Paris. That's why I would travel to. And then the trips started being more consistent because of so he's the one that they want like as a thing.
I'm not sure why I think we're having some issues, or
Yes,
I'm not able to hear you correctly. Right? Yeah. I'm sorry.
There's an echo.
Just coming back a bit, Rabbit, you said this was like a crew for you, right?
Yeah.
You guys, were you guys in a crew ever, like before this?
Okay, the guy he joined in just before, but his name is KB, and when I started doing electro, he wasn't necessarily doing.
Creo rebota el audio.
C'est l'écho, no?
Yeah, there's an echo.
Okay, wait. Is it better now?
That's not you, I think.
Okay. Well, I'll try to explain it as little as possible. But when I started dancing, when I met KB, he was learning a different style, but he taught me electro, and he was trying to create this little group, and that's where Carlos and Seb was also part of that group. But I always felt like we were a group because we never kind of like left the dance. The dance kind of kept us together, but we were in different stages of life. And now I think we're ready to like create this community in to actually push this dance as far as we can. Because like Carlos said, he was the only one who was really passionate. And I think because he took the flame or the fire, you would like to say, or torch, we just followed because he kind of created this kind of space, and then we just made the space bigger. Now we have dancing at a place called Saint Luc that gives us a place. We did a couple of shows back then. Now we're doing a video with you. Everything's coming together, but it took us time to actually see the importance of this dance and to see how we could be a part of the growth. Because the dance is more than us. At the end of the day, when we talk about the music and the people around it, the dance itself is about everybody, So in that way, it kind of makes us feel a way of to be attached together. So yeah, we do feel like a crew, but we don't like our crew name is Cypher Electro. Sometimes we call Belle Province, but that's just jokes.
This motherfucker.
That's French, right?
It's a joke. It's
Okay.
okay.
Just to try to like wrap things out a bit. I'm 27. I started when I was like 13. I thought I kind of got your age as well. DOZA, it's kind of the same, right? How old are you guys?
28. This motherfucker, I don't know.
He's 25. I'm 26.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started electro at like 14.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
And ¿cuántos son? How many are you guys of the Cypher Electro?
I mean, there's two questions to it. Is it active or electro dancers in general?
Well, it just for you actives, it's like what they come and go, and or like because some dancers are dancers and just their rooms, right? Like they are, I don't know, like shy or lazy enough to be part of a community, even though they keep dancing, and we as community try like count them on, right? But yeah, like active and not active as well, like in general.
active, I would say, yeah, 15.
Okay.
Electro in general, maybe like 20.
Okay. Of those 15, um, all of those dance and other stuff, they started dancing something else, and they joined to electro, or
A lot of people, well, yeah, some of them started with different styles. It's like, let's say, Santiago. Santiago's is a contemporary dancer. Uh, and Val, I think Val started with shuffling. Am I right, Robbie? Um, and then others from there, they're just Flo.
Whacking.
Flo started with whacking. Um, who else? Ola's he's been there for a while, but he started electro. KB, he's an OG from here, so he started electro. And who else? Yeah, that's pretty much it. But there's like 3 or 4 dancers that they were into something else before starting electro.
okay, I mean, it's great. It looks like you guys, like electro dancers, like a community, actually uh, put together a lot of communities as well there, right? Like you guys are the spotlight up there, and I don't know, like Montreal is actually a renowned place, you know.
We
So
got a big influence from other different styles. Montreal moves a lot of example. Let's say a lot of pop, a lot of punk. There's a lot of things happening here, so there's always big events, and more dancers are starting to get known in their international scene, especially. So I think that's our main influence, maybe, and we're trying to like have like a presence.
okay,
Yep.
okay. And when are you guys coming to Mexico precisely?
In 2 days, we're gonna be there on Saturday.
Uh, you're flying to Guadalajara or to like
Yeah,
Mexico City?
Guadalajara.
Okay. So
Yep.
yeah, we'll see you guys here.
Yeah.
I want to have your information, each of you guys. Like, I don't know if you saw like what I did for Gambit. Like that's like the Electro Community Archive I'm working on. So it's just a couple questions. Pretty much what we just did, but a few others, like the music you guys like each other, and books and stuff like that, just to have more, I don't know, like connectivity.
Yeah.
I've read some guys, like they read the same stuff I do, and it's like, okay, that's great, you know, like they like to play soccer as well or whatever. So I'm just gonna add this one as just a solo for Cypher Electro Montreal, talking about it, like the beginnings and stuff. And I'm gonna aprovechar this moment to send you out, each one of you, the questions about yourself, guys. Okay?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for being part of this, for helping me out, getting this on record. I'm gonna tag you on the post I'm gonna make about this, and see you guys here in a couple of days then. Okay?
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Trip. Nos vemos.
Take care, bro. Ciao.
Please.
Thank you.